What is the true meaning of peace? Why does the world suffer from violence when we seek harmony? How can we find inner peace? How can we help the world find it too? What is the secret to everlasting peace? What must we do right now to achieve that? Listen on as Kanchi talks about these very questions and unravels the secret to attaining this peace.
Namaste and welcome to this channel dedicated to the exploration of spiritual wisdom and the study of self-knowledge. Thus Spake Kanchi is an engaging and thought-provoking spiritual podcast series that delves into the subject of self-realization. Discover the newest books to our collection, The Heart of Everything and the magnum opus Abhinava Vijayam, both penned by the gifted author Kanchi. If you'd like to read the books, then check out the description down below. It has everything you need to know. Happy reading, and welcome to Tapas.
Why is our world full of war and violence and hate? How can we make it better? Well, to be honest, there never has been a time when the world was peaceful. You can go back into history. Our history is filled with not glorious festivals and celebrations and parties. We don't read about those things. What we read about is war, battles. So, battle after battle, and violence after violence, and power struggle after power struggle. We hear about this empire and then that empire, and how this empire rooted out the other empire. It's endless. So, there never has been a time when man wasn't violent and the world was peaceful. Since man came into being, there has always been violence. Not only man, even before man, even when the other species came into being. This whole cycle of so called violence was started. The big fish eat the small fish. This is the law of nature. There are some animals on top of the food chain, and then some at the bottom, and a whole lot in the middle. This is just how it works. The tigers eat the deer, the snakes eat the frogs eat the insects, the fish eat the worms, the bear eats the fish. So it's just a cycle. But only man kills for pleasure. That's the only difference. Humans kill not out of necessity or plain hunger. They kill for pleasure, sometimes for pleasure, just pleasure. They kill for power, money, and so many other silly things. Why is it silly? Because we know power, money, they're all temporary. And what you sow, you shall reap. So you're creating suffering not only for other beings, for the other person, but for yourself as well. So what is the point of this? Why are you doing something so violent? Why are you creating so much violence in the world to gain what? You're not going to be happy with that. It is not going to lead to everlasting happiness. So of course it is silly. So this is the biggest difference between man and other animals. But in nature there is violence. A volcano erupts. The nature of volcano is to erupt. But so many plants, so many animals die when the volcano erupts. When there's an earthquake, the earth shatters. There is loss of life. So this is part of our existence. In the Vedic Dharma, we have 3 aspects of existence. One is the creation, and then sustenance, and then ultimately destruction. So these three aspects are cyclical in nature. It is said that Brahma is the creator. Brahma creates everything. He is the creative force, the creative impulse that creates the entire universe of universes, from the smallest atom to the biggest planet to the biggest star. Everything is created by this creative impulse that we call Brahma. And then there is sustenance. The life force is called Vishnu. What is Vishnu? If you break it down, it is Vishwa and Anu. Vishwa plus Anu, that is Vishnu. Vishwam is the universe, is the infinite, ever expanding universe. Anu is atom. So Vishnu is that which is in the universe in every atom. Vishnu is that residing principle, that life force which resides in all elements, everything. That is Vishnu. And then we have Shiva. Shiva or Rudra. Rudra is that which makes you cry, that which takes away. So Rudra is that principle which ends things, the death of all things. That is Rudra. But is also called Shiva. Shiva means good, that which is good, Shiva. So how can something that's being taken away, someone who takes away, be called good? You need to meditate on this to understand the deeper meaning of this. We don't worship in the Vedic tradition, we don't worship that principle who creates. The creator is not worshipped. But we worship that one who destroys. And why is that? You can think about it, contemplate on this. Because before creation, what was existing? Before creation, there was peace. Before creation, there was silence. Before creation, there was, unmodified consciousness, bliss, the ocean of bliss, only that existed. Out of that, the creation came out. And the one who destroys, once the destruction happens, it is believed that we go back to that ocean of bliss, that formless light from which all beings arise, that place of peace, supreme bliss, beatitude. That is why Shiva is worshipped and not Brahma. So what I'm trying to say is these three principles of creation, sustenance, and destruction exist inherently in the universe, in all things, including man. Suppose you have a thought. The creation of thought is Brahma, is that principle of Brahma. And then the thought stays for some time in your mind. It is sustaining you in your mind. That is the principle of Vishnu. And then it dissipates, it disappears, it is destroyed. That is the principle of Shiva. In everything, there is birth, sustenance, and death. In thought, in emotion, in the incoming and outgoing breath, in the universe, in every being, in every living or so-called non-living things, you will experience that there is the birth of that, there is the sustenance, and then there is the death of that, only to be born again. So this is inherent in nature. Destruction is inherent in nature. The difference is with men, we kill not out of necessity, but pleasure. And this happens because there is no sense of oneness. Do you hurt yourself? You know what I mean? Because we don't care about the other. We only care about ourselves. If you divide and say us versus them, you care about us, not them. And as long as divisions exist, us versus them exist, as long as there are separations, there will be confrontation. And division starts with the mind. As soon as this ego appears in you, as soon as this appears, the onset of ego brings about an I. As soon as there is an I, there is a you. The I appears with the you. The thinker appears with the thought. And a division is created between subject and object. And there is a relationship between the subject and object. Does the subject like the object? Do I like this? Do I dislike this? Do I want this? Do I not want this? So this is inherent in the creation of this I, of this ego. And let me tell you a secret, a little secret. The subject influences the object. We all know that the subject appears along with the object. And we all know that the subject judges the object. But the subject also influences the object. We think the object is independent of the subject, but no. You influence the object. The way you look at it, influences the object. Not vice versa. How you see the object matters. If you see things with love, you gain love. If you see it with repulsion, you will find that the object will create circumstances for you to get repulsed. I'm sure you all have people that you don't particularly like. And the more time you spend with them, there are enough reasons for you to dislike them even more. Try this little experiment. Lie to yourself. Fake it. Pretend you like the person. And when I say fake it, I mean really fake it. Really mean it. Pretend. At first you might have to pretend. Soon you will feel that these things can be done for good, for real. Pretend like you really like that person. The people you hate, you will find a million reasons to hate that person. They will always do things to you that cannot bring you joy. And the people you love, there is a very high chance that you will only find things to love about them. You know what I mean? So the objects severely influenced by your own mindset about how you feel. Same way are with the world. If you look at the world and you think, oh, it's such a horrible place, it's full of violence and hatred, and it's full of chaos and confusion, that is all you will see. It is very difficult for you to see the good things in life because you're so obsessed, you're so focused on the negative. So as long as you focus on the negative, you will experience only the negative aspects of that. When you turn your focus from the negative to the positive, in anything, when I say the world, it encompasses everything. Your relationships, the people around you, your job, your own mindset, your own self-image. All of this is part of the world. How you look at God, how you look at other people, how you look at your own country, your government, your neighbors, could be anything. So the subject influences the object. This is a reality. We think they're separate things. No, they're one and the same. We'll come to that at a later stage, but we need to understand that the subject alters the reality of the object. So in a way, the world is your own projection. Again, in Sanskrit, in the Vedic literature, we have something called Srishti and Trishti. Srishti is the created world. Srishti is the creation you see around you. And Trishti is your awareness or your perception of the world. Your perception of the world. And each person's perception is different. No two people view the world in the same way. They could be siblings, they could be twins, they could have had very similar upbringing. But the way you look at the world is vastly different. We don't live in the same world. We don't exist in the same universe. You create your own little universe and you are at the center of it. And you are the victim of it. This little universe you have created for yourself, your personal den. This is the cage you have built. You pick and choose things that define this universe. You pick and choose things that alter your consciousness, that create your identity and your identity about the world. It is possible to perceive the world as it is without the subject influencing the object. When the subject no longer alters the object, when the subject no longer defines the object, labels the object, the subject and the object both disappear into that self. The differences between them disappear. And you open your eyes, you see your room, and then you see your body, and you think, I am a body living in this room. But the room and the body is a projection in you. Contemplate on this. Think about this. Meditate on this. So the world in a way is our own projection. And as long as divisions exist in our minds, we will suffer and we will be confrontative. No divisions means no confrontations. Because there is no other, no enemy. The threat and the enemy both exist in the mind. The mind divides and the self destroys all divisions. So the way to peace is not external. You can continue with police, military, and government reforms. I'm not saying you should not fight for social justice. You can do all of those things, you can continue. But the true peace, the lasting peace, the eternal peace, is possible only in the individual, not in societies. Only when the individual stops being a fragment of society, but in turn realizes his own true self and becomes one in the universe. He goes beyond the universe, where there are no divisions, no you and me, no black and white, no rich and poor, no man and woman, no anger, no hatred, no repulsion, no attachment, no jealousy, no mind, no others. There is no ego to create deformities in the consciousness. No deformities in the consciousness means no divisions in the consciousness. When there are no divisions in the consciousness, then, only then there is peace. The peace that matters. That unshakable peace. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can touch that peace. No matter what happens. No amount of violence. Nothing can touch that peace. Because that peace is not a result of something. It is not to be maintained It is your own true nature. That peace is self-arising, it is eternal. It is not conditional. There are no conditions to that peace. Hence, it cannot be disturbed. Only such a peace matters. And that starts with the individual. There are those out there who believe in God. If you also believe in God, then believe in Him. And let Him take care of the world. He knows His job. He knows it much better than you. You don't need to remind Him, oh God, you need to take care of the world. Oh God, I pray for you to upkeep the world. He knows His job. You don't need to remind Him. Surrender to Him. He knows how to upkeep this world, how to take care of this world, and how to deal with the good and the bad, so called evil forces. He has not forsaken the world, He has not forsaken thee, He has not forgotten us. And if you don't believe in God, no problem. Know that nature is only interested in balancing itself. Nature is not interested in anything else. Nature is only interested in balance. It is always on this rhythm, seeking to balance itself out. If there are any ecological dangers to this planet, nature shakes it off. So when we imagine that the world is going to end, the world is not going to end. We as a species will end. The world is fine, it can take care of itself. But the nature is powerful, it is intelligent. It is inborn intelligence. Earthquakes and tsunamis, they're all the tools nature uses to balance itself out. So no matter how powerful we think we are, the world, our planet has lived for far too long to be troubled by a inconsequent species like us. Nature is only interested in balancing itself. It is not interested in your personal well-being. Your personal well-being is your prerogative. If you find the balance and vibrate the frequency of Mother Nature, then you have a chance. So in either case, whether you believe in God or whether you're an atheist, does not matter. Either case, the best way is to find harmony within your own self. Find your own self and abide. Whether you believe in God or no, that is secondary. You believe in your own self. Find out who that self is. Find out why there are contradictions in you, why there are confrontations in you, why there are divisions in you, why you aspire for one thing but do something else, why you are troubled. Aspire for success, but then create something that blocks your own success. Find out why you are so divided. Now go to the root of this. Find out who you are. And that is the only way to give up the divisions of the mind. The root of the violence does not lie in governments or people or sections of society. No, does not nothing to do with education and all these things. You might think, no, it's not like that. The root of violence is in the ego, is in the concept of division. The more divided you are, the more attached you are, and the more repulsion you have towards certain things, that itself is violence. Give up the divisions of the mind. The root of violence lies in your ego. The greatest gift you can give the world is your own self-realization. Let's start with that. Change yourself first. You're all hell-bent on changing the world. You all want to create a wonderful place. But are you wonderful yourself? Are you perfect yourself? Are you at peace with your own self? If you're not at peace with your own self, there is not a chance in hell that you're going to create peace in the world, that you're going to bring peace into the world. There is no way you're going to bring peace into the world if you are yourself not at peace. And when I say peace, I mean lasting peace. Unshaken. It can never be shaken. Everlasting peace. Only when you are abiding in that everlasting peace, only when the divisions of your mind has melted in that consciousness, only when you abide in that awareness, that choiceless awareness, where you're beyond all divisions, where you have surrendered all divisions of the mind, only then you're at peace. And only such a person is fit to talk about change in the world. Only such a person, through his just sheer presence, can change them. The greatest gift you can give the world is your own self-realization. Change yourself first. Let's start with that. Once you have succeeded in rooting out the ego within you, rooting out the divisions within you, then we can focus on the world. Then we can talk about changing the world. But first, let's find that peace within ourselves. Let's dig deeper. Let's go within our own selves. Let's get to the root of the ego. Let's see where it arises from. What is its form? Where is this ego coming from? Where is this arising from? What is its true nature? What is its true nature? What is its true purpose? Let's get deeper into it. Let's meditate on that. Let's abide. Let's inquire into the self.